What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Second Avenue Podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Aris.
I'm your other host, Elijah Venencia. Let's start off with some fantasy football talk. Man, my team is so cooked. I was talking to you.
Mm.
We went to a concert. We'll get into that a little bit later. But I was like, this is the worst I've ever been in fantasy. I think I'm projected to put up 80 in one league. Let's see. I have 86 in one league, and I have 52 currently, and the other projected 83. So this is just embarrassing. I don't really have like that many players that line up either. It's just an embarrassing season. But fantasy basketball started for me, so I'm just ready to close this chapter of fantasy football. My first bad year ever.
That's tragic. Yeah, we're some real fantasy sickos. My first season doing fantasy baseball and my first season doing fantasy basketball. Now I'm just grinding these fantasy sports for no reason, but we're having a good time with it. It's fun. First time doing basketball. But no, just a good time with the boys, first season. So we'll see how it goes. But things are looking pretty good to start off the season. Yeah, in fantasy football, I think I'm going to go 3-0 this week. Fingers crossed. So don't want to rain on your parade, but
3-5. I mean, and just to clarify here, I'm not 0-8. I'm gonna be dropping to 3-5. 3-5. That's a good year for some people, but that's not a good year for me. So,
no.
And then last little tidbit on fantasy. This is going to become a Jalen Duren Stan podcast here. Actually, that's the boy. Told Jonathan to pick him up the other night, so we'll keep you updated on him. We'll do weekly Jalen Duren updates. So
yeah, he's that guy. He really is for fantasy basketball. See, like that's somebody I wouldn't have thought I need him on my team, but based on the way fantasy basketball works in my league, especially with the scoring, I was like, gotta have him.
I think it's enough fantasy football talk. Let's talk about Friday night a little bit. What was going on Friday? Where were the boys at?
Boys were in the Shy, the Windy City. Had to slide. IDK F65 tour came through Chicago. We had to pop out. We had to be there, show love. Professor Mills put on a great show, killed it. Great to see everybody on the team. And, shout out to the boy Jay Wood, No Label alumni, class of 2023, opened up for IDK. Fire, he killed it. And yeah, IDK, great set as well, as always.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was a really good set. Obviously, my first time seeing IDK, I believe it was your third?
Fourth, I think.
Fourth. Oh, wow. Okay.
2 in Boston, St. Louis, and Chicago. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't factoring in St. Louis there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he kind of had like the Taylor Swift Eras tour going on. That was really cool. And then, I mean, it was a different head setting each time. So that was really cool. Really enjoyable concert though. And then, Jay Wood, like you said, that was another good performance as well. And then also Luna L as the final artist, really good R&B artist. So, I thought, it was a really good concert overall. I don't think really anybody had a bad set or anything. So,
Dreamville in the building, Under the Sun went crazy. Loot killed that verse. But yeah, great show. Like you said, the Eras tour type vibe. So far, I loved him changing from the hat, the helmet, the beanie, and then a lot of different things. So no, it was fire. Very, very diverse set. He played up so many different types of songs and so many songs from different points throughout his career. So great show. But that kind of actually leads me in to the songs of the week. So I'll kick it off here with my first song of the week. I got Paranoid. IDK performed Paranoid, covered it. And, he started talking about some things. I'll never listen to Paranoid the same way again. Paranoid by Kanye West, of course. Great track. I also redid, I don't know actually if I've ever done it, but I put together my top Kanye songs. And Paranoid, sneaky. It was not in my top 10, but I considered it. So it was very fitting because I did that on Friday during the day. I just was like, oh, let's just throw this down real quick while I'm thinking of it. And then that night he performed it. And I was like,
that's fire.
Is it now in my top 10? Maybe. I don't know.
Now you showed me that list a little bit. We were just chilling before the concert. So, I mean, that's something we're going to get into. So just stay tuned for that. But moving on here to my first track, we got Magic by Vince Staples. This is one, the DJs, the little warm-ups they do. I was like, okay, I wasn't feeling it too much. And then they played Magic by Vince Staples and the whole crowd was just vibing to it. It was just the correct track to play. So,
oh yeah, great track. I was loving it right then too. My next track here, I got Me, Myself, and I by Lucky. When we were driving into Chicago, I was like, oh, we got to listen to some Lucky. We're in his city. And then on the way out, I was like, oh, we did not listen to any Lucky. So I played Me, Myself, and I when we got a little stop at Taco Bell. It hit late night Taco Bell. elite. After a concert, I feel like I go to Taco Bell like every time, and it hit.
Yeah, I was
Always hits.
asking. Yeah, I was asking you. There's like McDonald's across the street. I was like, you want to like stop there afterwards? You're like, no, we got to find a Taco Bell, basically.
Oh
So
yeah,
it was good little Taco Bell there. Even though you got pulled around both times for separate orders.
yeah,
Taco
that's some
Bell, get that
crazy.
figured out. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna put that on air. Put him on blast. Uh, my next one here though, we have Jonesboro. This is one I didn't really know you were rocking with. I
Oh
love this
yeah.
one off Young Thug's new album from this year. It just hits. And then I mean, it was like one of the first tracks that played on the way to Chicago. So good vibe there. And I was like, oh, okay, Big Crody gets down like that, I guess.
No, I love Jones, bro. It's I think easily my favorite track off that project. Yeah, who knows? Maybe it'll make my end of the year favorite song. So I don't know if it's that high, but I would consider. I do listen to a decent amount. I do like it. So yeah. All right. My last track of the week, I got Cody Freestyle by Steve Lacy. I just ran back Gemini Rights the other day, and I don't know why, but Cody Freestyle was one that stuck out to me. I don't go back to it like by itself, but in the scheme of the album, I was like, I love this song. Like it's very good. So I feel like people don't talk about Gemini Rights that much. Like I don't feel like I hear people talking about it. Like it was definitely very, very popping last year. Bad Habit, going crazy. But I feel like I don't hear people talking about the album anymore, and it is very good. I'm a big fan of that one.
For my last track here, we have Last Call by Kanye West. This is one that's just been constantly bumping for me. I don't, it just came on one day and I was like, sure I'll play it through. I hadn't heard it in a long time or listened through in a long time. And man, it fucking hit. So I was like, that's just one that's been kind of constantly in rotation the past month or so. And I was like, we got to listen to that on the way back. So all three of my tracks were from that Friday night, so,
That's
but
good.
yeah, that was like the perfect vibe, just leaving out the city.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, just a great track by Kanye. So
No, very fire, long song. I feel like I don't go back to it that much because it is long, and it's just like him talking. He's just saying so many things. But obviously, it's really good in like the album context, but also just listening to it and like that vibe. You know, 11 o'clock, midnight, whatever it was, leaving Chicago. Listen to that, just felt right. But yeah, I think we just get into today's topic. You see the title, album of the month. October 2023, The Melodic Blue by Baby Keem. Spoiler alert, we both love this one. Very excited to talk about this one. We're going to go track by track. There are some, we'll get a little bit more into, but let's talk, what tracks are our favorites, standouts, different memories we have associated with the songs. But yeah, let's get into it with the first track. We got Trademark USA.
man, this one brings back memories, whether it's Euphoria or this is just
Yep.
one now when I play it, it's like, gosh damn. But this is I don't want to, throw anything crazy out there. This may be one of my favorite like openings to an album ever. This just sets the tone perfectly. Not only one of my favorites, but maybe one of the best ever. So we'll see how it ages, of course. But this is a very good opening track here.
No, it's so good. I was gonna give a shout out to Euphoria as well, because like now when I'm in the car driving to Trademark USA, all I think is Euphoria. So it's so good though. I feel like I used it in an aux battle before for sure.
Yeah.
I love Trademark USA. You get a nice little switch up here with the beat, with the production, so good. I don't hate your take that it's like it's up there. Like it is such a good intro. Like if we did our favorite intros, best intros ranking list, whatever, I think I would give it a nod. Like it is just so good. Yeah, it definitely sets a vibe for the album. Which leads us into the next track, Pink Panties.
Pink panties been the preference. This is one, I'm admittedly, like you said, we're gonna have some you don't talk about too much. I really have never been bumping this one too crazy. How about you?
Nah, me either. I started playing the Melodic Blue on the way back from Chicago, like 1 a.m. You were kind of falling asleep a little bit, so I was like, yeah, whatever. Like I'm gonna turn it off. But Pink Panties was one like I definitely
It put
forget
me to
about.
sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely forget about Pink Panties. I don't go back to it. So yeah, like when it came on the album, I definitely did not remember that it was like this early in the track list. And then it comes on. I feel like on my first listen to the album, I would have been like, feeling so good after Trademark USA, been like, oh yeah, we got like a classic. We got potential for a classic right now. And then we get Pink Panties. I probably would have been like, wait, what? Like It's interesting. But yeah, eh, I think that's all we need to say about Pink Panties.
Yeah, let's
It's
move
just
on. Let's
whatever.
move on.
Next track, we got Scapegoats. How you
Now
feel about Scapegoats? Yeah.
this is one where I mean it hit at the time, it still hits now. This is one I wish was longer, but I get having just that little short track in the album, kind of like The Beach off Ramona Park broke my heart. Just a short little track where you're just craving more after this. And then once you had texted me what's album of the month, the little outro there where she says the melodic blue, I was just gonna send that lyric back, but
Yep.
I just ended up sending the album. But
Yeah, I love this track. That Serpent with Feet sample, so good. Like a very personal song. It feels like you really kind of get a picture painted by Baby Keem of what he's got going on, talking about his life a little bit. And then, obviously, you got the nice ending with the I'll tell you the story 2 years later for now the case closed.
yeah,
That's fire. It's 2 years later.
yeah. If you
I
check
don't
the
think,
calendars,
yeah,
it's been a couple years. So
I don't think we're hearing the story this year, but I think definitely next year. So ready for whatever Keem has coming next. Next track here, a track that is very near and dear to our hearts, Range Brothers with the big cuz Kendrick Lamar.
this is, obviously, we got a rec basketball team named the Range Brothers. So obviously this one has had crazy impact. This is one at the time. It was so unique to hear Kendrick with that flow. Like he's just, coming. It's just so I just unexpected at the time. Obviously still a fire track, and then very near and dear to our hearts. So
Yeah, obviously got to give a shout out to the Range Brothers, our Range Brothers, the team. Season coming up soon, so if you've been missing those updates, you don't got to wait too much longer. But yeah, this is a great song. I love Range Brothers. Obviously, it's a little bit different. You got the top of the morning, top of the morning, top of the morning. Like that was like when you heard that for the first time, you were like, "What is like happening?" Especially hearing somebody like Kendrick do that, you're like, "What?" But no, I think it sounds good. Like it's very just weird, but it's cool at the same time. Uh, one of my favorite like moments on the whole album is the Kendrick ad libs in that last verse where he PG Langfool, she's hot, Rover Gang. Yeah, Range Brothers out the roof, we're not the Waynes. Hate to tell the truth, we're not the same. He's Baby Keem. Just like ad libs like that is so fire. That's definitely one of my favorite moments of the album, I would say.
yeah, and so I really like the little different he's Baby Keem, they're not the same. Because right around this time, the week before, they had dropped Family Ties. So that's when it was confirmed they're cousins. And then he comes later and he's kind of taking his own path, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. It's fire. Next track here, we got Issues. I'll
This
be
one,
honest.
oh,
You go ahead.
okay.
You go ahead, then.
This one has such deep meaning to me. Obviously, just the lyrics. Not to get too personal or anything, but it's just something that's very relatable in my life. So this is one I could see why to you, I guess, or to any of the listeners, why it doesn't really mean much. But to me, it's like, damn, this might be my favorite Baby Keem track, just because the lyrics, the meaning behind it, and everything. It's just very relatable. So
That's fire. Yeah, I was gonna say not my favorite song. I definitely don't go back to Issues too much, but it is one that like when I hear it with the whole album, I really do appreciate it more. Especially like that late night drive last week. Listen to this, I was like, okay, like it's a good song, but it's not one I go back to as much. But yeah, that's fire that you have that tie to it. It's a solid song, but it's definitely just not what I go to Keem for. But good song. Next track here, we got Gorgeous.
this is one I really was bumping this at the time, and now I can't even remember the last time I've listened to it. It's still an enjoyable track off the few re-listens I gave the whole album. But yeah, it's not one that's in my rotation as much anymore.
Yeah, I think it's one of the weaker tracks, I would say. It's solid, it's fine. But again, it's not one that I find myself going back to as much. Which kind of leads me to the next track here. We got South Africa. This is like the Gorgeous from me, I would say, to you. You said, you were bumping it at first a lot. Now you couldn't tell the last time you heard it. That's how South Africa was for me. I loved South Africa. I think Baby Keem's flow when he's coming in is so fire. But yeah, I just don't find myself going back to it very much anymore.
it's another one where it's just not getting as much play anymore, but it's still a really enjoyable listen, is what I will say about it. And I'd say,
Mhm.
I mean, at the time of the release, it was probably the most enjoyable listen
That's crazy.
outside of Family Ties, of
Yeah, I'll
course.
say that's crazy. I think Family Ties, Trademark USA, Range Brothers, Scapegoat, there, that's up there, but uh, that's crazy. So anyway, let's get the next one. Lost Souls, solo Baby Keem version here. No Brent
Yeah,
Fayez.
yeah, okay. I was wanted some clarification there. This is one that's rose up in my rotation. Obviously, I feel like I'm bumping the Brent Fayez one a little bit more, of course. Gotta have those remixes, but I mean, where does this one sit for you?
I will like never listen to the solo Baby Keem
Yeah.
version. I have to listen to the Brent Fayez version, but it's so crazy because when we were at No Label, I played the Brent Fayez version, and everybody that I was in the car with was like, I like the
Oh yeah.
individual one better. They like the one with just Baby Keem better. And I was like, what? Like, that's crazy. Like, I love Brent, obviously, but I think from just like a neutral view, I'd be like, oh yeah, the Brent Fayez one's better. Like the intro on the solo Baby Keem version feels so long. That's like what I realized. Like I thought he was gonna come in, and then it kept going. Like, it feels longer than it does in the remix. I don't know if it's actually true or not, but when we were listening to it the other night, I was like, wow, it's like different, structurally different than the version with Brent. But I also will say, like the outro, like how the beat changes. I think that part is better on the solo Baby Keem version than the Brent version. Like it sounds like it fits more. I don't know why though. I've never really been a fan of that part.
Yeah, I even forget that there it's just like a Baby Keem, on the album there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's crazy to me that people would enjoy that version more, but hey, to each their own, of course.
Next track here, we have one that I would throw this in the most enjoyable listens when the album first dropped as well. We got Coco with Don Toliver.
Yeah, Don Toliver and Baby Keem. I feel like that is such a great combination, and that could be like a duo of the future. Like
Yeah,
I
exactly.
would not hate a collab album between the two. And then I mean, obviously, I feel like they're going to be some of the two biggest artists coming up. Coming moving forward. There we go.
It really feels, it dropped in 2021. It really felt like that was a look at what the next decade of like rap hits could look like, just because you have two of the best, like I would say, hit makers. Baby Keem, I guess, hadn't shown it as much before this album. He had Orange Soda, which was a very big song, especially, blew up on TikTok and all that. But then you get Family Ties, and he kind of just keeps cementing himself a little bit. Then you get his feature on Donda, and yeah, he just kind of starts to become more and more relevant, like in the pop rap world, I guess. And then Don Toliver has been running features since we first heard him on Can't Say, and then his own songs as well. He's been going crazy. So yeah, hearing those two together, so fire, and it was like just an inevitable hit. It felt like, and I feel like it's not as big as it
As it
should
should.
be, but I do like this one a lot.
I do get that vibe, and I mean, just like a closing point on like Don Toliver, Baby Keem. I feel like they're, like you said, hit makers and everything, but I feel like they're just different enough to where they work very well together, and this is a good example of it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Next track, I mean, the track, like if we're talking about the Melodic Blue, we're talking about this track,
I
Family Ties.
Yeah, and I'll go on record for saying, there's no without the Melodic Blue. There's I don't think we're doing this podcast, but 1000% without Family Ties. Like this is the sole reason why, like we are here. And this dropped. You were in Harvard, or you were at Harvard. So I mean, like my most distinct memory of like my first listen to this was we were leaving the park. I thought it was for the Streetcorn Festival, but it was for a basketball. Just pick up basketball games. And it was, if you know my cars, it's blacked out windows and everything, but it was a windows down, just fucking blaring this track.
Fire.
And yeah, this is one still to every time it comes on. It's just one of them tracks. Like this is going to be one of the best tracks of this decade. So
I was gonna say that as well. I think you can convince me maybe a couple other songs, but like this is up there. This is easily like a top 5 rap song of the decade. I think no question. I think it's so good. It's definitely one of the best like hits. Like
yeah.
there are probably better songs with a little bit more personal meaning and all that kind of stuff. But like when we talk about hits, like a song you play yourself just listening to it, you can play it on the aux, very versatile song. Family Ties. I mean, it's just elite. Definitely one of the best songs of the decade for sure. Like you were saying though, very, very memorable first listen with this track. I was trying to remember, like, did we know this song was coming out or was it just like a
It
surprise drop?
was it wasn't a surprise drop, but I feel like it had to be like the day before. It was just because it was the picture with the blurred out eyes that and that's when we knew Kendrick Lamar was coming back as well. So obviously that's a huge moment. Um, but yeah, I had to be like the day of, or I mean, like maybe a surprise drop, I guess.
Yeah, I was trying to remember and I don't remember how that all transpired. Um, but I feel like even if I even if it had been announced, I feel like I might have just missed it because I was at No Label. We just had so much going on that like I wasn't like on Twitter all day,
Yeah,
whatever. So I feel like I could have missed it, but also at the same time, like one person would have seen it and said something probably. So I feel like I just don't remember. But I remember waking up. We had morning workouts at No Label, and I remember like waking up and seeing it had dropped, and I like listened to it on my phone. Like I just laid in bed, I was listening to it real quick, and I was like, okay, like that was
the
fire.
trumpets are so
Yeah, I
just
was
so
like,
such a fucking iconic track.
yeah, I was like, okay, this is one of the songs. And then we end our last day of class at No Label, and Obi is playing music, and he plays this, and it's just like everybody's going crazy. We're all just jumping up and down together, vibing out. There's like a video of us just going crazy too. It's on my Instagram. I will never forget like that. I'll consider that like my true first listen. Like that was the first time I, heard it with other people, all that kind of stuff. Heard it on the phone. Like I'm not going to count that. So crazy memory like of the day that song dropped. And it is just such a good track. We could go on and on with this one, but I do agree that like there would be no Second Avenue Pod without Family Ties. It's just a track, you know. We got the Baby Keem, Kendrick parallels. It's just us. We see us.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just to close, you heard the trumpets, you heard Baby Keem come in, you knew it was going to be a hit. So, and it's still a hit to this day.
Mm-hmm. Next track here, we got Scars.
Scars. This is another, like, this one just gives me such issues vibes, or also,
Oh, yeah.
Scapegoats as well. Just one of the shorter little tracks. It fits in the album. It's just not one I'm bumping too crazy.
Yeah, I'm not going back to Scars. I think it's a fine track. I just don't go back to it. That's the thing. Like, even the tracks I don't go back to, I can like at least appreciate when I'm listening to the album. And I don't think they're bad songs. They're just not the ones I go back to. Stand alone. But yeah, you got the nice Kanye drums on this one, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, some 808s right there. But yeah, just not a song I'm going back to. Fine song though. I think it has a music video. I think it's like a music video of him like riding a bike or something. Does that sound familiar at all? Or I'm making this up.
Yeah, I'm getting that same vibe. It's hard to tell because, like I said, it feels like issues almost, or I'm blanking here. It's just another track that just kind of slips by. So I could see that though.
Yeah. Next track here, one of the singles that dropped before the album, Do Rag Activity with Travis Scott.
This is one I feel like they left some meat on the bones. I feel like there's something left to be desired here for a Travis Scott and Baby Keem collab. It's an enjoyable track, and I still bump it, of course, but I was expecting more, honestly.
I was too. I was expecting like a banger. I wanted like something. I wanted a Family Ties esque level of
When
an
they
anthem.
yeah,
I
like
wanted a
praise
song you
God
could hear.
even.
Exactly. I wanted something with a little more energy. I think it's a good song. It's fine. Again, not one I go back to as much, but I feel like I keep saying about a good amount of songs, but it's just like I do love this album so much as an album, and the songs I go back to so much and I love so much, but there are some that I just feel like I don't. And yeah, this is one I definitely was bumping it when it first dropped though, because I was before the album and I was like, I'll take any Keem at this point. But yeah, it's a solid song. Next one here, we got Boo Man.
This is one after I've never really was bumping it too much, but then when we went to the concert in St. Louis, after hearing it live, it was like, okay, I like this one a lot more. So
That was going to be my exact point. It's one of those songs that hearing it live and seeing him perform it really helped it out. I was not going crazy for it before that. It's interesting. Like, it's kind of a weird song. Like, my name is Boom Man. Like, it's unique. It's different. Definitely weird, like on the first listen, but seeing it live, I'm like, okay, it just gives it a whole new feel. but I could see people not going to this one as much.
Yeah, I think it's just the personal seeing it live, you know.
Yep. I feel like we've had the exact same reasoning and points for like all
I
these
was gonna
songs.
say I was gonna finish. You know, if we continue to have this, I was gonna finish with these parallels are crazy. Like we are like synced up here. So
Yeah, it's crazy. But let's see how we feel about these last three. We got First Order of Business next.
this is one I wasn't bumping really at the time. I'm still not bumping. I'll be honest here.
I don't mind First Order of Business. I think it's a cool song, but yeah, not one of my favorites, but it's solid. Next one, we got Vent. I heard Vent on a leak, like I probably would say, I mean, months before the album, maybe even like a year before the album. And I think people said it was like a Kendrick
Uh-huh.
leak. They're like, okay, this is a Kendrick album and this is going to be a song on it or whatever, which obviously that did not turn out to be the case. But that version was way extended compared to what we got on the Melodic Blue. It had like a whole Kendrick verse and it was so good. But I do love this. And, you know, it's not like an official Kendrick feature, but getting Kendrick on that is great. I love it. It's got good energy. The beat, great. Um, Almost like electronic type vibe, but I love it. It's like, no, I wouldn't say top five, but it's, you know, it's close enough to that I think it's like definitely one of the top songs on the album.
Yeah, it's just a very enjoyable listen. And then, I mean, like you said, being perceived as a Kendrick Lamar leak, and then I just love the intro. Two phone baby Keem, fuck you mean I'm here, ho. You know, like
It's
that's
so fire.
just yeah, just such a great opening.
Well, speaking of great opening, we talked about it with Trademark USA as well. We both think that could be one of the best intros that we've heard in a while. We got to talk about 16 now, which I would venture to say is one of the best outros we've got in recent years as well.
Yeah, I mean, he came correct intro and outro. This is one I don't really think you guys are ever going to see the video or anything, but this is the best video I've ever gotten at a concert. I had my cinema mode on. This is one I always love, so I wanted to get that moment. So I have the cinema mode just on Baby Keem the whole time. Crowds chill. I'm 10 feet away from Baby Keem, and he's so into it. A great performer. So that was like my takeaway from the concert is like, man, this is a great track, and I got my best video, I'd say.
That's fire. Yeah, I love it. It's another one that, you know, seeing it live definitely like elevated it. But before that, I already loved it. Like, I mean, this is before the podcast, but it would have been up there for probably one of my songs of the year. But if we do one, I would have done Family Ties. But if we do multiple, I think I might have had 16 on my top songs as well. I love it so much. I feel like it's a song that anybody can go to. I feel like I haven't heard anybody say they don't like 16. And it kind of started to blow up on like social media, even a little bit more like TikTok, which was kind of surprising. But, you know, great
This
track.
this is one, I'll close it with this is why I mean Keem is such a superstar, going to be, leading kind of this next generation or be one of the people leading. It's the versatility, like to be able to put a track like this on the same album as a track, Family Ties esque or, Trademark USA to I mean, to be able to go in both directions is, I mean, it's going to be very pivotal for his success. And like you said, I mean, this one I feel like should have had more TikTok influence or stuff like that. But just a great
I feel
track.
like it did. Like that's the thing. But you know, the versatility is crazy. I mean, even going back, the track right before this is Vent. Going from Vent to this, like something Vent coming at you hard, you're feeling it. Pause to uh to 16, a little bit more subdued, a little more laid back, melodic, the melodic blue, no pun intended, but just very personal track versus the hype stuff that we get throughout the album as well. And I think there's a lot of balance of that throughout all of Baby Keem's discography. You know, he's got more personal songs, but he's also got the bangers. And I think that is why he's like one of the most promising rappers. Don't even want to say up and coming. I almost did. He's
Yeah.
a star, but I would say like up and coming towards that like big four of the generation, like the obvious big three of the 2010s with Kendrick, J. Cole, and Drake, but somebody else we throw on the Mount Rushmore, maybe Kanye a little bit later. But anyway, seeing Keem elevate it's been a minute since we got something, but I feel like if he continues what he started on the Melodic Blue, we're looking at like one of the people that's running with the torch of the 2020s.
Yeah, this album was like a very good like step towards being. I'd put him almost in the star category, and then I mean this next album is it's really going to determine is he one of them, so very
He is.
excited. Obviously, like we mentioned earlier, we should have had the album this year according to the Melodic Blue. So I mean, Baby Keem, this is a great album, the Melodic Blue. I'm ready for something new though, for sure.
Definitely ready for something new. I mean, it was so weird that we got the deluxe version like
A year after, yeah.
over a year later. I think actually,
I
it
think it came
was
out
a year ago
October.
yesterday.
Yeah, yep.
So funny timing here. But yeah, the deluxe, we got like seven, 6 or 7 new songs or whatever. So it was very random. Like, felt like I remember we talked about it when it dropped. Like, this feels like it should have been like its own little EP, but
Yeah.
it was cool to get new songs nonetheless.
Yeah, I obviously he's not really been teasing it too much, but a new project has to be on the way, so we're excited for that, of course. But I think that about wraps it up for, I mean, October's album of the month. Any closing thoughts?
You see, we had to dress the part. We got the Melodic Blue
Oh
merch on
yeah.
today. We talked about the concert a little bit, but had to give that last little shout out. I am definitely like an overthinker with like many things, but this merch was no exception to that. I was like getting a green sweatshirt of the Melodic Blues. Like, that feels wrong. You got the blue. I think you want the right one, but I love green personally. One of my favorite, probably my favorite color. So I had to go with that.
Yeah, you didn't want to twin with me because they want to twin together. We could have been all dripped out.
Some
But
real
yeah,
family ties. Yeah.
yeah.
No, great album. We love it. That's that.
Yeah,
Can't wait for what's next.
I think we hit every point on it. I mean, yeah, just I close it out with, I guess we wouldn't be here without it. So shout out the Melodic Blue.
Shout out the Melodic Blue. Family ties changed our lives. All right, let's get into the news for this week. We did miss last week. Apologies on that. So we do have a good amount of music to talk about. Some notable projects for sure. Let's get into the projects first, then we'll talk singles. Last week, we got projects from Sampha, Conway the Machine and Conductor Williams, Gucci Mane, Summer Walker, and City Girls. And then this week, we got a nice little surprise drop from Brent Faiyaz, Taylor Swift, Baby Tron, NLE Choppa, The Holiday, and the collab project between Amir Van and Merlin Wood. This is a very good 2 weeks. This is one of the ones where you take a step back from 1 week and you see, okay, you got this in the last 14 days. We've been blessed. But I think even looking at these individually weeks, you're like, okay, like there was definitely something each week that had me excited, which is something that we weren't getting as much earlier this year.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a very, very solid 2 weeks we had here. I mean, that Sampha project, man. You told me, we were talking in person. You said we're gonna be talking about it in December. I think we both probably will be, but that's to be determined there. And then Brent Faiyaz, that was a nice little surprise drop. Amir Van and Merlin Wood, I liked what they did on the project. So, I mean, that's to touch on a few of those projects there.
Yeah, the Sampha project, I said earlier this year that I think it was right before Utopia dropped. We were talking, you said, I have a hot take. This is going to be the album of the year. And I think, that take aged pretty well for you. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to give anything away, but
Yeah.
but I know you like it. And
Yeah, what happens off camera?
yeah. But then I said, I'm going to say mine will be Sampha. I'm going to call my shot with Sampha. He's going to have album of the year. And I love it so much. We'll see if it is my album of the year in December, but I love it. I've listened to it on repeat. I probably listened to the album 4 times a day of drive. I probably listened to it 20 times. I've been listening to it so much. It's been on repeat for real. So this is like crazy because it's back-to-back weeks that have had me at 11 o'clock ready to listen. Sampha and Brent Faiyaz this week. And that's something that I hadn't felt in a minute. Like, it just feels so good to be back. Like, oh, it's great.
And I mean, we didn't really talk about the project because we had an early episode that had been 2 weeks ago, but that was another one. That was another good release week. So we're putting together some weeks here. Very exciting for us. Obviously, it makes these weekly news sessions a lot better. So,
oh yeah, so good. This week was borderline overwhelming. Like, I didn't know what to listen to because I also wanted to listen to Baby Tron. I haven't listened to Baby Tron yet. It's like an hour and a half long. It's a lot of Tron. I like him, but I don't know if I can do an hour and a half straight of Baby Tron. One day though, I'll get to it. I promise. Let's talk about these singles. So last week we got singles from Wale, Lil TJ, Casey, Kali Uchis, Lana Del Rey, 2 Chainz and Lil Wayne, Kevin Abstract, Rick Ross and Meek Mill, 21 Savage, Danny Brown and The Alchemist, Ian Dior, Cochise, AB and DaBaby. And then this week, again, Cochise, Boz, The Kid Leroy, 42 Doug, Kid Cudi, The Alchemist, Conway the Machine, and Yebba. Again, a lot of music here. We've been blessed.
Yeah, no, I got a lot of listening to because I definitely prioritize albums. So a lot of these singles I haven't been able to listen to. So I mean, I got some work to do. I'm gonna I got a little drive to make after this. So I'll knock some of these singles out.
I feel like I'm the opposite. I feel like I prioritize singles because it's just easier. It's just easier to do like one. But with that being said, it's like weeks like this when there's an album that I'm like that excited for, like the Brent last week, like Sampha, that albums, I'm not getting the singles. So I haven't got to these singles. I'm in the same boat as you. I will get to them because a single, it's easy. You know, you throw it on 3 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever. An album, that's a whole commitment. That's like the Baby Tron. I want to give him the full hour and a half. I want to give him undivided attention. He's getting these bars off. I gotta focus up. Yeah, he does. The Prince of the Mid, and I gotta give him that. But these singles, yeah, I gotta give them some love as well. So we'll be back with thoughts on those in the future, but very good ones. I'm sure people are loving it. I really only like the Danny Brown one, The Alchemist, Kevin Abstract. But yeah, there's a lot. So we got some work to do.
Good thing though, you know, we've been complaining this year, been fiending for release weeks like this. So yeah, this just makes us all the more fun.
Oh yeah. Let's talk about a couple things here. We got some new music rumors. We got 3 artists to talk about. 4 technically, 3 albums though. First one, Kanye West and Ty Dolla $ign collab album. Again, it's one of those things, you know, is it going to come? Is it not going to come? Pause. We'll see. But it's looking a little more and more likely. We got an album announcement post from Ty Dolla $ign. That's a good sign. It's crazy. So they've been posting the yen symbol and then the $. And then somebody called that back in like 2021 crazy. They said, oh, they should do an album, yen, $. So it's yay and $, yay and dollar, whatever. So that is fire that person came up with that idea. I don't know if they saw that or they just came up with it as well, but very, very cool that somebody did call that. I didn't even know what was happening. Like when I saw the yen sign for, you know, the rumors of the album and then like hinting at it, I was like, thinking back to Kanye when he tweeted about the lonely emojis. And I thought that he just picked a symbol that looked like a little Y. I didn't think anything about the yen. And even if it's just yay symbolization, but yeah, very cool that person did that. And we'll see what happens here, but they have supposedly going to be a multi-stadium listening event on November 3rd, which is, you know, it's coming up. So it's like, are we getting this album this week? I mean, we'll see.
It's something I'll never trust till I see it on my Apple Music or, you know, Spotify for you. Ye was at the Tyson Fury and Francis Ngannou fight. So, you know, I feel like once he starts going in the public eye more, he's kind of in album mode. So we'll see. You know, I don't know. I hope we get it, of course, but I'm not going to hold my breath.
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully we have that to talk about next week, but knowing Kanye, we won't know until we do know. So next album news update rumor, Rihanna has signed a new deal with Live Nation. She's set to release and tour 2 new albums within the next few years. This is another one where it's like, you know, it's been so long that it's like, I won't believe it until it actually happens. But it seems good that we're getting, you know, a little bit closer to some new music from Rihanna.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like, what is the level that this tour would be on? You know, are we gonna see? You know, I feel like it's got to be at that Drake, I mean, Taylor Swift level almost, like selling out, you know, massive stadiums, stuff like that. So I'm curious to see how it goes.
For sure. She's going to go crazy. She's a global superstar. To me, it honestly felt like we were never to get music from her because it's like, what does she have to prove? Like, she doesn't need to put out music. I thought she was probably going to call it raps, but good to see that she might be dropping something here not too long from now. So that'll be good for sure. She's always going to come through some great tracks. Last album news here. Danny Brown has a new album called The Cortana coming out on November 17th. So pretty fire here. We've been waiting for this one for a minute. I have, at least. I thought it was going to drop last year. It wasn't the case. So coming out a year later, but we're going to get it. And that's all you can ask for.
Definitely. A lot to be desired there. So we'll see what happens. I feel like we're both gonna be talking about a Danny Brown project in December. Could potentially be 2. So
yeah, exactly. I know you got JPEG Mafia in the studio too. He says he got something coming. He actually, we didn't talk about it with like the releases, but he just brought one of his old projects to streaming services, the Ghost Pop tape. People have been going crazy for that one. I have personally not heard it, so I need to give it a listen. It's under his name, Devin Hendricks. So give that one a listen if you're a Peggy fan. I'm sure it's good. I've heard nothing but good things about it, but I personally have not listened. That's another one I got to do. So we'll get into that in the future, hopefully. But yeah, good to get these updates. A lot of good stuff happening and good stuff on the way. So very exciting close to the year for music.
Yeah, I mean, for a slow year, it's really coming in hot now. I mean, I feel like the past couple of months have been building up a little bit, and I feel like now we're in the direction where we were last year. So, I mean, exciting for us, of course. So,
yep.
But I think that about wraps it up. Any closing thoughts that you have?
Happy Halloween, everybody. Yeah, I think that's it. We should have probably said that in the intro, but hopefully, if you guys dressed up or if you guys went out, any of that, you guys had a good Halloween. I guess this is dropping before Halloween technically, but I feel like if you went out, you probably went out last weekend, unless you're like in college. So happy Halloween.
I'm trick-or-treating Tuesday.
Go off then.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, we'll see you guys next Monday. Have a great week. Peace.